So tonight we will learn about dialectical behavioral therapy, and some of the things we will learn include who DBT is for, the four main concepts taught in this type of treatment, the types of mental health concerns this treatment supports, how the skills taught can help with chronic conditions, and the benefits you can expect from using these skills. Rachel Zentner is a licensed professional counselor. She is an early morning writer, a coffee time philosopher, and a psychotherapist. She enjoys engaging in deep, meaningful conversation and exploring the forest with her overweight, beautiful lab, Ripley. Rachel is a mother of two powerful young women and three amazing bonus children. She operates a private practice as a therapist and coach primarily online in Wausau, Wisconsin. She values her introverted nature, enjoys being challenged, and finds humor in life surprises, and of course, by me. Rachel, we are so happy to have you here. I will let you take it over from here.
Thank you so much for the introduction. I'm so thankful to be with all of you this evening. I was just, as Sarah was speaking, I thought this is so great. These people want and love themselves so much that they would be willing to take an hour out of their lives to learn more about how to support themselves and their mental health and physical health conditions. I mean, what a really cool group of people to talk to. So already I'm feeling really blessed to be here. So I'm here to speak with you about DBT, or Dialectical Behavioral Therapy. So the first slide here that we have, if we could go on to the next one, is to talk specifically about what is DBT. Again, Dialectical Behavioral Therapy is what DBT stands for. In terms of the history of what we have in talk therapy, this type of therapy was developed after cognitive behavioral therapy and is under the umbrella of the talk therapies. This was developed by a woman named Marcia Linehan in the 1970s, which seems maybe like a long time ago, but was not in terms of the history and the theories that we work with in psychotherapy. The most important part, and I will try to give you concrete examples of this throughout my talk with you today, is what does dialectic stand for? And dialectic, I think we think it means like talking, and there is a lot of talking in this type of therapy, but dialectic itself, if we break it into two pieces, is di meaning two, and lectic meaning opposite. So that's the two core words that we put together for this type of therapy, which again, if you think about Venn diagrams, that's going to be the crux of what we talk about in this type of treatment and skills. It's going to be holding two things that seem opposite together at the same time. This is also one of the more difficult types of therapies because the brain really doesn't like to do this. The brain wants to separate everything into good, bad, fearful, safe. It just kind of wants to do that really, really quickly. So this type of therapy is one that you have to practice. It is not necessarily common or easily available to us as human beings. So next, oh wait, here we go. One more thing I wanted to share. Sorry, it's okay, I can add it. DBT in general just focuses on helping people to first and foremost accept their reality, the situations and state that they are living in, and also to help them recognize their behaviors and teaching them that they absolutely can change their lives, and also to recognize what behaviors they might be personally engaging in that are not helpful. So again, I want to feel like this, but I'm behaving like that. So what we try to work with clients on is, if we want to feel like this, how can we line up those behaviors and have some overlap between those two Venn diagrams? Okay, next slide, please. So this is the crux. This is the whole piece of DBT. Before I get too much into this slide, I wanted to make sure that I mention Finding a specific DBT therapist or DBT clinic, depending on the state that you live in and you're looking for these services, could be as loosely regulated by the state as Wisconsin, which is you don't have to be a certified DBT clinic, you don't have to be a certified DBT provider. And for example, I am not certified in DBT. I use these skills with clients, but the specific training to become certified is state by state. For example, I have a friend who spent most of her career being the head of a DBT residential facility where people would live on campus, learn these skills, and learn how to use them in kind of a smaller environment before going out in the world and practicing them with their loved ones. So, depends on where you live. And if at the end of this conversation you decide, I think I really like this kind of treatment, just to know that there are people that do like DBT light and people that do DBT as it was originally laid out by Marshall Linhan in the 70s. Either way, these four concepts are going to be integral. Number one, core mindfulness skills. Mindfulness skills, as DBT defines them, definitely are grounded in Eastern spiritual traditions. The skills help members or clients focus on the present and attend to what is happening in the here and now in a very calm and intentional way. It helps people to slow down. I like to tell clients this is the part where you get a little bit of extra time from an event that's happening and from your reaction to it. If you start practicing core mindfulness skills, it's almost like you can give yourself a little bit more time in your day. It helps people to slow down again and focus on what is needed to care for oneself in the moment. So members and clients will learn about what's called the wise mind concept. And wise mind is something, and we can practice this right now, which is something that is a really hard concept at first, but when you break it down, it's actually pretty easy. So the easiest way for me to explain wise mind is to teach you and to teach my clients that we can actually think about our thinking or observe our thinking. And the easiest way to do this is if you want to close your eyes with me, or you don't have to close your eyes, it's not necessary, but tell your brain to repeat the word talk, 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 talk. I'll be quiet now. And so ask yourself if you heard your own mind saying the word talk over and over again. That is a shortcut to learning what wise mind is. So we can actually observe what's going on in our mind, what's going on in our body, what's going on in our emotional world. So we try to teach people those skills so that they can watch and observe their tendency to react quickly and in a destructive way. So we want to interrupt that type of destructive pattern. And that's the first core mindfulness skill that we have in DBT. We build on that by talking about the next one, which is distress tolerance. Distress tolerance helps people get through difficult times when emotions are running high. Now, these are the types of things that I think of when my own chronic pain is flaring, when my conditions are making my brain work differently and my body work differently, and I can't seem to handle more and more things. So it feels like it's climbing and it's climbing. The stress tolerance skills are really important in those times. It teaches people to soothe themselves in very healthy ways that are serving of your own personal health care rather than becoming overwhelmed by emotions and either reacting to them in a destructive way or hiding from them. This type of skill allows people to make those wise decisions about whether and how to take action that will serve them in the long run. We don't want people reacting quickly in intense and desperate ways for themselves and others. We teach crisis survival skills that we don't want folks, again, engaging in those problematic and ultimately make the situation significantly worse for themselves. Emotional regulation is one moment. important skills that we help people understand that chemical emotions, the nature of chemical emotions, how long chemical emotions last, and how to ride the wave of emotions rather than be led around by them. We teach people that they can have an experience that feels like it's going to be impossible to survive, and teach them that the chemical rise and fall of an emotion lasts about 90 seconds, is what we've learned through the research. And we want people to understand that they can absolutely survive that by using breathing skills and other emotional regulation tools. And then finally, we put all three of those skills together to talk about what a lot of people come into therapy with, which is difficult relationships. Um, Interpersonal effectiveness skills help people understand that their needs in relationships are important and have value, and it helps people develop effective ways of teaching and communicating their needs to others while staying out of a victim stance. We want people to be able to get their needs met in healthy ways, and it involves respecting themselves and others, listening and communication skills. We teach those in a way that feels effective and empowering for our clients so that they can even learn how to deal with difficult people at times. And we like to teach people about boundaries and the value of saying no at this point in therapy. Next, we move on, if we could move to the next skill, in terms of who is DBT for and how can it potentially support me? What's listed on the slide there: people that struggle with chronic stress, people that struggle with chronic pain, anxiety and depression, anger expression, impulsivity, and intense and chaotic relationships. Most of the people that are on my caseload as an individual therapist are going to express these concerns when they are struggling with chronic pain and chronic stress. So this is a type of therapy that most people can benefit from. You don't have to have all of those qualities in order to engage in this type of treatment, but they are designed to specifically assist individuals in better managing behaviors, emotions, and thoughts. The intent is to help people experience these problems, whether it's anger or anxiety or depression, in a way that addresses those feelings with giving them skills to move through it, not in a way to avoid it or make the situation worse for themselves by engaging in destructive behaviors. For example, when I say destructive behaviors, this type of treatment is well researched for people with borderline personality disorder, self-harming behaviors or suicidality, post-traumatic stress disorder, any type of substance abuse disorder. There's two specific eating disorders that this modality works well with, which is binge eating and bulimia. And again, any type of depression and anxiety really is addressed by these four core teachings that we talked about, or the four goals of DBT that we talked about before. It's important to note that the reason DBT has proved effective for treating these conditions is that each of these conditions is thought to be associated with issues that result from unhealthy or problematic efforts to control intense and negative emotions. Most people that come either referred for DBT or requesting DBT type therapies have had amazing opportunities and have come up with very creative ways to solve the problem of not getting their needs met. Unfortunately, they have burned bridges, they have harmed themselves, they have harmed others, and they feel like they're really at the end of their therapeutic rope and want to learn these skills so that they can get some of those things back. Next slide, please. The benefits that you can expect from DBT include to teach you how to stay safe by reducing suicidal and self-harming behaviors, if that's applicable to you as a client, to limit behaviors that will get in the way of problematic therapy. A lot of my DBT clients struggle even in the relationship with the therapist. So they talk about wanting to get close to somebody somebody, but having difficulty when they feel vulnerable with somebody. Again, that's those two opposite things trying to be held together. So the therapeutic relationship between a therapist and a client is usually the first one that we try to engage in these healthy behaviors. Then we start practicing outside of the therapeutic environment. We as therapists, whether we're doing group DBT or individual DBT, want to help you reach your goals and improve your quality of life by addressing what's blocking you from your progress, such as mental health conditions or relationship issues. We want to teach you, what does it feel like to be mindfully aware in your body? And how can you get that separation between an outside um, sort of catalyst and an internal response? We don't want that reaction piece in there where we react out of emotions that can be really caustic and damaging to ourselves and others. And then finally, we want to help you learn these new skills to replace those unhelpful behaviors. And overall, in a way, when I think about my own chronic pain and chronic stress conditions, I am constantly thinking about how to reduce inflammation, not just in my joints, but also in my mind. And when I think about chaos and stress and reacting in ways that harm myself and others, I feel like that's adding into my inflammation, whether it's on a cellular level, in my mind, or in my soul. And I'm always looking for ways to reduce that. And next slide, please. This is a thank you from the US Pain Foundation, and ultimately a thank you from me for your attention and your attending this evening. Again, I want you to take exquisite care of yourselves, and hopefully you learn some things about DBT.